Before my nephew was born, he was a big baby who and my sister had many urges for different foods. Then it was time for him to be born. It became a 2-day event, but he finally arrived. He was a bright baby boy who always looked around for sounds and was always trying to hold his head up. Physically, his movements began at the head and then moving to other parts of the body, as expected with babies that age. Between 2 and 18 months, he would gradually gain muscle control over the Babinski reflex, Morrow reflex, and the palmar hand grabs. Eye control got stronger at 3 to 4 months, and the infant was able to sit up with support and keep his head up. He began crawling at 9 months and was pretty much on his own after that. Finally, he started walking at 12 months, and his object permanence allowed him to realize that objects were even still hitting, even though he couldn't see them. After a year, his cognitive development grew a lot. If a song came on the radio, he would sing with it. We would laugh when he hit the high notes. He was very humorous. The first stage is the sensory stage, where he thinks with his eyes, ears, hands, and other sensory motory senses, which means we had to watch him all the time. He could identify objects that were similar with his object permanence, and actions are imitated by him watching what we do. So at this stage, we really have to watch what we do. Actions during this time, he is adapting to the environment by building schemes through direct interaction with the environment by assimilating and accommodating to the environment around him. His psychosocial development at that age involved using the zone of proximal development, which is a range of tasks a child does with the help of another person. And this is the trust versus mistrust stage. The infant is totally dependent on people, and the quality of care has an important role in shaping personality. If a child develops trust in this age, it would help him out socially when he is much older. Due to the fact that he had many family members around who loved him, he developed socially pretty quickly and had a pretty good vocabulary, which he did. George could understand most words and expressions before age of 2. Early childhood. Physically, growth starts growing during this period. He was still gaining weight but was not a heavy eater, and he wasn't an overweight child. His physical skills got better. He learned how to play outside by running, jumping, kicking, throwing, and he even climbed the tree we had out front. He started drawing and writing a bit also as his fine motor skills improved. Cognitively, he was able to make decisions on his own, and the attention skills had increased. He was able to understand simple sequencing and time concepts. Imitation is common in this stage also. With symbolic development occurring at this age, their concepts of identity emerge. They become aware of their own thought processes and understand people. It also helped that his mother was a social worker, which she was able to help him develop concepts at that age quicker than most children. His psychosocial development during this stage was autonomy versus shame and doubt, as children ask themselves, can I do things on my own, or am I relying on the help of others? This is the second stage of Erickson's stage, where children are focusing on developing their sense of control. This is usually done through toilet training, as learning to control their functions can lead to a feeling of control and sense of independence. Also, controlling their food choices, toys, and clothing is just as important. His mother got married at this age, moved in with their father, and his attention fell in school, with his mother having to take him out for a year to homeschool, but after that he was back in school and better than ever. Middle child development. Physically, body size get bigger as childhood continues at a regular pace. Bones get taller, with temporary teeth replaced with permanent ones. He got taller, of course, just as the book text states, and flexibility increases, balance is better, with more efficient processing because of interaction with other children. Fine motor skills increase more, writing becomes more legible, and organization in depth. Games are being played where other children have rules, while boys play rougher than girls. Cognitively, this is the concrete operational stage, where reasoning and logical thought is more concrete, and reversible thinking is occurring. Hierarchical classification is better, spatial reasoning improves, and they are able to understand a lot more things at that age. Psychosocially, this is the industry versus inferior stage, where children, school, and social interactions are important. Children strive to master new skills and are commended by their parents. The ones who get commended have more self-confidence and do better, and this stage is vital for self-esteem. Being as though his mother was a social worker, still, at this point, she was more equipped to deal with her children. Children face more challenges as they cope with more social and academic demands. Success leads to confidence, failure leads to inferior. During adolescence, physically, this is the time when puberty takes place and my nephew started growing taller, his voice deepened, and we had to look at him as a young adult who had to be treated as such. The rapid growth spurts made this happen, and now he was looking us in the face as he was taller than his mother. Suddenly, he started to worry about his appearance, and he started to develop a new self-image of himself as a young adult, and his appearance was linked to his self-esteem and self-concept. Even so, peers had more influence on them at this time than their family. But we were there for him to support him, but ultimately, his peers decided more than we did. Cognitively, this is the time where his capacity and logic and abstract reasoning increase due to being exposed to more experiences and dilemmas. Social cognitions and beliefs about interpersonal factors have important effects on development. And in this stage, formal operational thought is acquired as he can now ponder the possibilities of endless choices or opportunities. At this point, the cognitive development includes problem solving, reflective thinking, and even creative abilities are realized with the abilities to reason and draw conclusions. Maturity being the development of morality evolves as the sense of right and wrong is present, and he matures, his moral aspect will change. He graduated from college and went to college. He graduated from high school and went to college. Psychosocially, peer conformity is very high as they yield to the behaviors and attitudes of a group as transitioning to adulthood takes place. And according to Erickson, there's a crisis at every stage of this process in life and determines their success to the next level depending on how they respond to others. At this stage, they are working through issues of trust, autonomy, initiative, industry, to forming their own self-identity. Self-identity is so important at this stage, and it is accomplishment that can be made at this point as self-reflection and forming adult roles take shape. Social interactions allows an identity to form outside of familiar influences, and peer acceptance is very important to adolescent needs. At this stage, an inability to form social networks can be a predeterminant of low achievement economically and educationally. During this time, teens can be more assertive about their individual rights and usually adhere to their peer group. This can cause problems to their development as they struggle with norms and struggle with deeper issues than previous generations, ranging from violence, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, poor parenting, and even sexual abuse. Early adulthood, physically, this is the time when the aging process kicks in and is characterized by changes in skin, vision, hearing, and immune system functioning change, along with reproductive capabilities declining. The aging process begins a bit overtly, and around the age of 30, the changes start to occur over the body. Sensitivity to sound decreases and happens more to men, with the hair starting to gray and becoming thin around 35. Later for some, early for others. Skin dries, wrinkles start to appear, and the immune system weakens and become less able to fight off illnesses. Being as though my nephew was only 28, none of this is happening right now, but his thought process is changing a bit. This is a time when relativistic thinking occurs and when young people begin to become more aware of the complexities of life, with crystallized and fluent intelligence being the main focus at this period of their lives. The crystallized intelligence is the accumulated knowledge and experience making steady gains throughout this time period. Fluid intelligence is more dependent on the basic information processing skills and starts to decline prior to middle adulthood. The concept of right and wrong becomes more into their awareness, and they begin to look at things from many angles, understanding that a question may have more than one right or wrong answer. Pragmatic thinking occurs using logic to solve real-world problems while accepting contradiction, imperfection, and other issues. They develop expertise in their career, which further enhances problem-solving capacity and creativity. I'm proud to say my nephew just finished law school, and he's presently studying to take his bar. Psychosocially, they seek to form intimate relationships with love and work being the main focus according to Sigmund Freud. Intimacy can be gained through close friendships, romantic relationships, or all three. However, those with a lacking sense of unity, of identity, have problems forming satisfactory relationships and tend to be more emotionally isolated, lonely, or depressed. Depression is a major concern at this point and is most likely linked to eating disorders, which they use to cover up other issues. Currently, my nephew has none of these issues that I know about, but he is happily spending his time with friends and family.